Today, we're making buffalo milk. This unusually named drink comes to us from the far-off, distant island of Catalina, home to the Catalina wine mixer. This was also home to the original Christian's Hut, an impromptu bar created during the filming of Mutiny on the Bounty and named after Clark Gable's character. Christian's Hut as an entity would grow outside of Catalina Island, with one of its most famous outposts being in San Diego, where it would later become the Bali High. Many movies have been filmed on Catalina Island, including the 1925 film The Thundering Herd, which introduced real bison to the island where they still roam today. The buffalo milk drink is credited to Michael Hoffler from the Harbor Reef restaurant and was created in the 1970s. This milky, creamy, and slightly tropical mudslide was named after the buffalo on the island, not, and I repeat, not after its ingredients. No buffalo milk will be used in the drink today, but I'm guessing if you got your hands on some, you could use some. There is no one official recipe because many, if not most, of the island bars have their own take on this. So we'll make it, and I'll use some affordable, common ingredients for this one, and then I'll give you a slightly updated take on this with some top-shelf ingredients. This video is not sponsored, but it is brought to us by Trevor Campbell, a Make and Drink Patreon member and a member of the Mai Tai tier, where you can work with me on a cocktail that ends up here on YouTube. This one was the cocktail that Trevor wanted me to explore, just as the buffalo do on Catalina Island. So let's get to making this. In a blender, I'm going to add 3/4 ounces of creme de cacao, 3/4 ounces of a banana liqueur, 3/4 ounces of Kahlua, 1.5 ounces of vodka, 2 ounces of half and half, and 1.5 cups of crushed or nugget ice. And you pixel peepers might say I have a new blender. I'm not recommending this. I've never used this blender, but I just can't stand the way the plastic ones look. They're just cloudy and etched, and I can't seem to find a way to clean them. So I'm trying this glass version. I don't have high hopes, so we'll see how it turns out. I will top this with some whipped cream. So there you go, the buffalo milk from Catalina Island. Let's try buffalo milk. Cheers. There are no surprises with this one. There's no hidden flavors. There's no complexity, which I think is fine. It's not supposed to be the best thing you've ever had in your life. It's like a little bit more tropical and fruity mudslide. That's what it is. It's a mudslide with banana, and it's good. And even the creme de cacao I use, the banana liqueur I use, are not great quality ones. And you can say what you will about Kahlua, but in this, it does what it's supposed to do. There's nothing off-putting about it. It just is a desserty, creamy, milkshake-like cocktail. And the word cocktail is probably a little loaded because people are going to think that this is not really a cocktail, but just a boozy milkshake, which it kind of is. And I think the first inclination might be to make it, acidic somehow with some type of juice, which I just don't want to do because I don't think that that's at the heart of what it is. But I do think that this is very good. And if you were in Catalina Island, you should have one of these and try them all across all the different bars there. But it's not like the best thing that's ever happened to the blended milk creamy cocktail. I think there's a way that we can just slightly tweak a couple things to make something a little more interesting, using a little higher quality ingredients and just matching, I think, a little more of the texture that we're looking for too. This blender is not great, but the next recipe is actually going to be helpful if you have a blender that's not great, because we're going to use some frozen banana that will help with that texture. So let's get started on my version of the buffalo milk. Starting with 3/4 ounces of Tempest Fugit creme de cacao, 3/4 ounces of Giffard banana liqueur, 3/4 ounces of the Luxardo espresso liqueur, half an ounce of coconut rum, 1.5 ounces of Probitas rum, 1.5 ounces of half and half, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum, and we are going to blend this without ice. Now I'm gonna add 1 cup of ice and half a frozen banana, give or take, maybe half to 3/4. This will give it a nice creamy texture and consistency. So there you go, my take on buffalo milk. All right, let's try it. Cheers. I obviously like and prefer this one, otherwise I would not have made it, but it's not like 10 times better than the last one. It might not even be twice as good. It's better. It's just not night and day difference. This has a more pronounced banana flavor. A little bit of the coconut comes through, but just a little bit. The texture is better because we're using a little less ice and then replacing that with banana, so it's a more creamy texture, bringing more banana flavor. The banana is there in the banana liqueur. It's there in the actual real banana, the frozen banana, and then it's there with that rum. That rum has a note of banana. That's why I used that one. Still wanted to keep it light and not do something that's too heavy, too intense, because I think you don't want to turn this into too much there, but it still has a more pronounced cocktail booziness than our previous version. And while many of you know the purpose of the xanthan gum, that's xanthan gum with an N, just to reiterate, because I see it all the time now on social media, especially on Instagram, people just use it and they don't even tell you the purpose behind it. I'm not totally sure they always know the purpose, but especially if you're on Instagram, there's so many people who just watch the videos and don't know, or it's their first time, but that xanthan gum is there to keep the drink emulsified. And what we mean by that is that if you make a drink with blended ice and cream and fruit or whatever else is in there, eventually over time, it's going to start to separate out. It's going to happen pretty quickly, where at the bottom of your glass, you're going to get liquid. The top, you're going to get kind of a foamy, icy mess. The xanthan keeps that totally incorporated and emulsified throughout, so it's sort of stabilizing your whole cocktail. It's not really thickening it. If you've used xanthan before to thicken something, it's not doing that. Too much it and it will turn it into a thickened, kind of gross mess. So 1/4 teaspoon per cocktail, that's according to the Tropical Standard book. It is a good technique to use pretty much in any blended cocktail. It's not going to hurt it. It's not going to ruin the consistency, the texture, or the flavor of it. So if you're making blended cocktails and you notice that, hey, your margaritas start to separate over time, then that's what you should use to keep it from separating. I used to use this little trick in the Costco Kirkland Gold margarita mix a long time ago, and I used to not measure. And I would often ruin batches because I would just like sprinkle it in, and sometimes you do too much and it just ruins. Sometimes you don't do enough and then it doesn't even work. It forms like a gel around the ice, keeping it emulsified, stabilized, so you get a nice drink from the time you first sip it until much later, even past the point where it's cold. If you've ever bought cheap ice cream that was in your freezer for a long time and then you thought, I need to get rid of this, and you put it in your sink, or you left ice cream out and you came back to it the next day and it still had its full shape of the container it was in, that's stabilizer, that's gums, that's what's inside of those, keeping it the texture right over time. So use xanthan gum to keep your drinks just a better texture, better experience. It's not a mandatory thing. You don't have to be doing it. It's just a little hack to make better drinks. So that's it for this one. 2 versions of buffalo milk. The one that you're going to find on the island often, and then my take on it, they're both good. I think mine's a touch better, but it's not that much better, just a little bit better ingredients, a little more help from modern techniques of using xanthan, as well as using a frozen banana to really drive home the banana flavor and the texture without adding more ice. That blender I bought, it sucks. It doesn't do a very good job, so I'm not going to keep that. If you happen to know anyone at Vitamix, please put them in contact with me. I would love to find a glass carafe. I know why they don't, but I would love to find a glass carafe for these blenders that's not an old school blender. But obviously, safety reasons and whatnot, probably cost as well. They don't do it anymore unless it's one of these old school 50s, 60s, 70s style blenders. But if you know of one, let me know in the comments below. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a like below. Consider subscribing if you want to support this channel more and have your favorite tropical, tiki, rum cocktail show up here on YouTube. Then join my Patreon, join the Mai Tai tier, and we can talk about that, talk about your favorite cocktail. It doesn't have to be in a certain category, but this one, uniquely enough, it's not rum, it's not tiki. Is it tropical? I mean, it's from an island. It has banana. It's close enough. So, that's it for this one. See you in the next one.